Hello, it's Sandra King from Boccia England and it's day 18 of #Boccia at Home, and today we're going to talk about decision making. So for a change, I'm actually going to go pretty much through the sheet that I've uploaded here for you, and I'm going to stick pretty much to the script that's on there, which is a bit unusual, but you'll see why. In talking about decision making, we've got two different types of questions we want to ask. They are what questions and how questions. And actually, how many athletes do you know that will just pick up a ball and throw it? They'll do the first thing they think of and then might not have actually gone through any decision making, might not have thought of any options or choices or different shots. And then the next question I'm going to ask is, would you expect to see that at top level? Would you expect to see our GB players playing a shot straight away without thinking it through first? If you watch them, you will see them thinking, maybe looking from different angles in their box while they're trying to work up the possibilities. So the what questions. There are quite a few, there's different systems you can use, etc., and some are more complicated than this. And coaches who've done level 2, we've looked at decision making there in slightly more depth than I'm going to do here. And that's to keep it quite nice and simple, so it's easy to get hold of, and you can make it more complicated yourselves later if you want to. So here we have a situation, looking at it from your position here with a jack. This is this current scoring blue ball. This red is a little bit further away at the back, and this blue is further away still at the front. So the first thing we're going to ask is, what are the shot options? I just want you to have a think about that for a moment. So I'm going to suggest we've got 3 shot options here. Can you see 3? So one might be a simple placement shot that lays up to the jack. That would score 1 point for red, blue's turn to go. A second might be a push-on shot where you're actually going to push the jack back, hopefully stick with it. That could score 2. And the third might be a push-off shot, so knock that blue away and to make the scoring zone much bigger. That might also score 2. Blue's turn to go next. So given those 3 options, and of course you might think of more, the next thing I want you to think about is, what's the level of risk versus reward? So an example would be, if I want to do my placement shot to come up to the jack here, actually I might make it come short. Okay, so that's the reward is getting the point. The risk is a ball that's short and in front. So how much of a risk is that? Is that a big risk? On the other hand, the risk might be that you miss altogether and fire all the way through. How big of a risk would that be? So the next what question is, what's the position in the match? Because that might make a big difference. If red is leading here, 5-0 in the 4th end, that's quite a different situation from if red is 3-1 down in the 4th end. Now that might change the level of risk that you find acceptable to take to get the reward. So on this sheet, I'm actually giving you these questions to work through. It'd be really good to sit and discuss this with anybody, discuss what you might do, explain them. Even if they're not a boccia player, you can explain to them what your thoughts are. So once you've decided the what, so what shot shall I make? What's the position in the match? What's the risk or reward? You then got to think about how you're going to play that shot. And I'm going to refer you back to all those videos we've done before about controlling line and pace. In particular, day 17 was about accuracy. So the how is your technical process. How are you going to control the line and the place to actually execute the shot that you want to execute? That is going to reduce your level of risk if you can execute the right shot. And finally, if you're thinking about the how, you're thinking about what technical process you're going to use, you're much less likely to worry about the outcome. In other words, you're focused on your process and not on the outcome. And that is also more likely to lead to a successful outcome. So there's a few ideas on the sheet here for coaches in how you can coach this kind of tactical decision making. So the first thing might be to start with a simple either or situation. So we might take away these other balls. We might have this situation and we've got a very clear either or here. Do I want to placement shot in front of the jack, or do I want to push away the blue? So that the player could then discuss the risk versus reward of each and decide which one to use. I can see a third option as well. I'm going to leave that to you, because the whole point of decision making is that we're training the players to make those decisions and have those thoughts. We're not always there in their ear. We can't tell them what to do all the time. So you might need to offer the suggestions. A player may not be able to come up with those suggestions themselves, so you might need to offer those. One other thing you can do is to drop balls however you like, take a photograph of that, play out that situation, put it back, play it out in a different way. So you look at what the options are that you could play it with, and maybe challenge, well, actually, which option can we get a bigger score out of? In a match situation, you can play a conditioned match, where the condition is that before you play your shot, you have to identify and verbalise, if possible, 2 different shot options for every time that you throw the ball or deliver the ball. And all of this can be done on the tabletop as we're doing here. It doesn't have to be done playing. So if you haven't got that playing room, but you want to do a bit of tactical work, this is the sort of thing that you can do on the table at home and discuss with somebody else. So decision making. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Good luck. Have fun.